We continue now at the top of Daf Yomi Gemara, Meseches Yoma. This is Yoma Daf 6a. And the previous summon, we had a man domer that said that Moshe Rabbeinu put the avnet on Aaron and his children at the exact same time. So the problem is that there's one pasuk by the actual Miluim, which seems to indicate that it was Aaron first and then his children. So what does that man domer do? So the Gemara says, Amar Loch, that man domer will say to you, Ahu avneto shel kohen gadol, lo zehu avneto shel kohen hedyot. That pasuk teaches us that the avnet of the Kohen Gadol was not identical to the avnet of a regular Kohen. Rashi over here says, Kilomar means to say as follows, Liolam krodit savoa dafka bevasachas. The pasuk which tells us the instructions for the Miluim, which is in Parshas Tetzaveh, that we should understand to mean that it was actually at the same time. Meaning, take that pasuk literally. Uviasiyo de Polgino, now by the actual performance of the Miluim, where it splits it up and it sounds like Aaron is first and then his children, L'lamdeinu ba, that comes to teach us she'ein ha'avneitim shavim, that the avnet of the Kohen Gadol was not the same as the regular avnet of a Kohen Hedyot. Shenemar b'maisei avnet shel Kohen Gadol v'yaso avnet sheish moshzor tchelos v'argomon lamadnu shel kilayim the sheish kisno tchelos imra. When it comes to the avnet of the Kohen Gadol, that one is kilayim. It's made out of both linen and wool. V'avnet habonim lo piresh hakasav mimahoyu. Now, when it came to the avnet of the children of Aaron who were not Kohanim Gedolim, that was not, it doesn't explain what it was made of. The Ashmi'in and Hacha, and that's why this pasuk over here teaches us the Avneto shel Kohen Gadol lo zeh Avneto shel Kohen Hedyot shezeh shel kilayim v'zeh shel boats. When it came to the one of the Kohen Gadol, again, that's made of kilayim. When it came to the one of the Kohen Hedyot, it was made just of linen. There was no wool. It was not made out of kilayim. That's what that opinion is going to say. And the Gemara continues, Ulamad Damar Aaron v'achar kach banav. Now, according to the other man Damar, that says first Aaron wore the avnet and then his children, so what's that mandomer going to do with the pasuk that seems to indicate it was all at the same time? It says you will place on them the avnet. So the Gemara answers, Amar Loch, that mandomer will say to you as follows, Hahu kamashmolon, that pasuk teaches us avneto shel kohen gadol, zeu avneto shel kohen hedyot. That on the contrary, they were both made of kilayim. According to this mandomer, the avnet of the kohen gadol is identical to the avnet of a regular kohen. And so the Gemara asks, according to this man Damar, that the avnet of the Kohen Gadol was identical to the avnet of a regular Kohen, so again, so why does it say in the actual Miluim, first Aaron, and then it says Vayachgrosam? It's an identical avnet, put them all together. And so that's why this man Damar says, Shmami, no, we see from here, Aaron v'yachar kach banav, that first Aaron put on the avnet, and then his children. And so the Gemara just asks, is it possible they all put it on at the same time? Because Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that's putting these garments on Aaron and his children. How can you put on 5 people in one shot? So the Gemara says, Lo tzricha da'aktim. No, it's needed. The situation is that they just did the other clothing first. Rashi over here explains, Lo tzricha da'aktim lo bevasachas mamish kamar. We don't mean that they all put on the avnet at the exact same time. Obviously it was one after the other. The chiddush over here is, according to the man Amar who says bevasachas, there was no beged between them. In other words, Rashi explains, first Aaron put on all the garments, but not the avnet. Then Moshe Rabbeinu put on the children of Aaron, the mechnasayim, the ksonos, and the mitznefes. And then he took the avnet and put it on Aaron and then his children one at a time. Well, now, according to the one who says that it was Aaron and then his children, like the way it seems to be at the actual performance of the Miluim, so according to that mandomer again, Aaron is going to put on all of the clothing, including the avnet, and then the children will put on all of the clothing, including the avnet. But according to all opinions, Aaron always went before his children. It was just a question whether you did all the clothing besides the avnet and then you went to the avnet, or no, you did all the clothing including the avnet and then you did all the clothing of the children. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots, quoting the Mishnah, Mafrishin Kohen Gadol v'chulu. It says that they used to separate the Kohen Gadol before Yom Kippur for 7 days. So the Gemara asks, Lama Mafrishin, why did they separate the Kohen Gadol? Gemara says, Lama Mafrishin, what do you mean, why did they separate the Kohen Gadol? Kita Kamrina, we already said the answer. Ilu Rabbi Yochanan Kedesle. If you're following Rabbi Yochanan, that's like what Rabbi Yochanan taught, meaning it's learned from the Miluim. Ilu Reish Lakish Kedesle, and if it's like Reish Lakish, we said that before as well. It's learned from Har Sinai. So the Gemara says, Hachi Kamer, here's what the question was. Mi Beiso Lama Piresh, why does he have to separate from his house, meaning from his wife? Why can't his wife come along with him to the Lishkas Parhedron? So the Gemara answers, Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Omer, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira says, Shema Timsa Ishto Safek Nida, maybe we're going to find that his wife is a Safek, she might be a Nida, V'yavo Aleh, and he'll have relations with her, and then he'll have a problem that he's Tameh as a Boel Nida. So the Gemara says, Atu B'Rashi Askinan, you think we're dealing with wicked Kohanim Gedolim, that they have, their wife is a Safek Nida, and they're going to have relations with a Safek Nida? So the Gemara changes it slightly, Alashema Yavo Alishto, cases as follows. Maybe he'll have relations with his wife, V'timtza Safek Nida, then afterwards we're going to find she's a Safek Nida, then he's going to be Tameh, so the only way he can be pure is with a count of 7 days, so that's why he's separated for 7 days. So the Gemara says, Amru Rabbanan Kamei de Rav Chisda, the Rabbanan said this in front of Rav Chisda, Keman, who does this follow? Rabbi Akiva. It seems to follow Rabbi Akiva's opinion. The Yomar Nida Metames Boala, who says that a Nida can be Metame, her husband. Now what that means to say is Rabbi Akiva saying, after they have relations, if they find out afterwards that she's a Nida, within 24 hours they find out she's a Nida, so we say retroactively that's a suffix situation, and retroactively we say that the husband is Tameh. That seems to follow this opinion. The Rabbanan, because if you're following the Rabbanan, Ha'amri ein Nida Metames Boala. The Rabbanan hold that retroactively you don't say that the husband is Tameh. Let's say he has relations with his wife, and then finds out within 24 hours that she's a Nida, that does not make the husband Tameh. So Amar Lahu Rav Chisda, so Rav Chisda said back to the Rabbanan, Afilu Temru Rabbanan. You could even say our Mishnah follows the position of the Rabbanan. Arkan lo pligi Rabbanan oled Rabbi Akiva, ela ba'achar achar. The Rabbanan only argue on Rabbi Akiva after a little bit of time has elapsed. It's the amount of time that it takes for her to get out of the bed and go bathe. Avol bechad achar module. But if it would be immediately after that they would discover she was a Nida, so in that case even the Rabbanan would admit that the husband is Tameh. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Zera says, Shema mina boel nida eno kenida. You see from this whole sugya that a boel nida is not exactly like a nida. V'tovel bayom, and he's able to immerse during the daytime. A nida, she counts her 7 days, and she can only go to the mikveh at night. But a boel nida, Rabbi Zera is saying, it seems to be, can go to the mikveh already during the day. Di'amrid boel nida kenida, because if you said that the husband of a nida, who has relations with her, is exactly like a nida, Emas Tavel, so when is he going to be able to go to the mikveh? Belaila, so then he's going to go to the mikveh at night. And Lamacher Hechi Avid Avoda. The next day, meaning on Yom Kippur, how can he do the Avoda of Yom Kippur? V'haboy Harav Shemesh, the halacha is that in order to be totally pure, you need to go to the mikveh and wait for the sun to go down, wait for nightfall. So over here, if he's going to the mikveh already at night, like a regular nida, he's going to have to wait all the way till Matzah Yom Kippurim in order to be tar. Elalav Shma'amina, rather don't we see from here, Boel Nida, Eno Kanida, that a Boel Nida is not like a Nida, that he's able to go to the mikveh on the 7th day, on the day itself, and then he has Hariv Shemesh, and then he's going to be able to serve and do the Avodah on Yom Kippur the next day. So the Gemara says, Rav Simi mi Nahardoi Yoma, Rav Simi from Nahardoi answers, Afilu Tema Boel Nida Kanida. You can even say that a Boel Nida does have the status of a Nida, and he has to go to the mikveh at night. So how is it that he's able to serve on Yom Kippur? And he explains, that actually, even though it said that we separate him 7 days before Yom Kippur, really we do it a little before sunset, is before Yom Kippur. So there's an extra day. We say mixas hayom kikulo. So therefore, since he has that extra day of separation already, so then it's not going to be a problem because he's going to be able to be pure in time to do the avodah on Yom Kippur. And so the Gemara now asks, Meisvei, we have a question from a Brisa. Kol chayvei tvilos tvilosen bayom nida violedes tvilosen balayla. It says everybody who has to immerse in the mikveh does it during the daytime, except for a nida and a yoledes. A yoledes is a woman who gives birth. They go at night. So the Gemara makes a diuk. Nida in, boel nida lo. This halach applies to a nida, but a boel nida does not go to the mikveh at night. A boel nida would go during the day. So the Gemara says, no, the Brisa means nida v'chal da'asi meribuya. It means a nida and anyone that is derived from a nida. Boel nida is derived from a nida, and therefore the boel nida will be just like a nida. He will go to the mikveh at night. Gemara asks another question. Meisvei, they ask a question. This is from a Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Balkari kamaga sheretz, boel nida katame meis. It says a Balkari is just like a maga sheretz. Now what that means is, a Balkari is tame for 1 day, just like someone who touches a sheretz, and a boel nida is just like a tame meis. The question is, what does that mean? So the Gemara says, my lav is it not litvila? It means as far as going to the mikveh, meaning when it comes to a boel nida and a tame meis, they're identical in that they immerse during the day. So the Gemara says, lo no litumasan. It refers to the fact that they're tame for 7 days. Just like a tame meis is tame 7 days, so too a boel nida is 7 days. So the Gemara says, if that's what it means, tumasan behed yaksibuhu. By Tumah, that's straight out psukim. You don't need to say that a Bo'al Nida is like a Tamei Mace. Each one, the pasuk says that it's 7 days. Hai Tumah Shiva Ksiv Bei, Hai Tumah Shiva Ksiv Bei. It says 7-day Tumah by this one and by the other one. And so therefore, there would be no need for the Mishnah to say a Bo'al Nida is like a Tamei Mace if each one, the pasuk says it's a 7-day Tumah. And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Vav Amud Beis.